All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. By the way, the Cycles webinar is now posted on the website, so if you'd like to purchase the recording of that, it is available. And the review course will be done in a few weeks as well. So we're going to kind of go over a few things that we covered in the course, and for some of you guys who couldn't make it to the live event, you'll be able to attend that one as well. So anyways, not much to talk about here today. So market's kind of floating up. We are up 0.5% now on the spiders. It is about 3:37 p.m. Eastern time here, and we're getting a little bit of a float here, but take a look at the tight range we've been in the last 2 days. I mean, just, well, really 3 days almost, if you kind of 2.5 days if you count kind of this little sell-off right here on Monday. But very, very, very tight range there on the spiders, and it's no real surprise here, right? So we have Jackson Hole coming up, and it looks like traders and institutions have just kind of placed their bets already, right? So there's nothing really going on here, and I would think for the most part the big boys are back at the office, but we're kind of just waiting on the Fed. So we have some really light volume out here, really anemic market. You see the VIX coming in pretty sharply. Tesla does do a split tomorrow. We think they kind of pump and dumped this. They are probably selling calls right up into this area. So they pump and dumped that a little bit ahead of the split. Tesla does have a strong chart, as I noted yesterday, though. I like this kind of daily flag and weekly inside bar. So we'll see what it does there. But, a lot of the times those splits can be kind of a sell the news event, especially with a stock that has as much hype as Tesla does. So, we'll see what we get here. But overall, market is probably due for a little bit of a bounce here. I talked about this yesterday. I thought we would go down and fill that gap and maybe test lower prices. We were a little bit on the weaker side yesterday, and we did kind of fade off the highs today as well, but now we're kind of floating up here as, the light volume just kind of bodes to that upside, gives the market kind of an upside bias here. But, overall, market, if you look at Apple, for instance, kind of coming into that 20 moving average, kind of like a drop and pop setup. So it does look like we could get a little bit of a bid here. It'll be interesting to see if we do anything, though. I'm not sure if we can even break out of this little range here on the spiders. Before that, it would be interesting to see if we just chop in this range all day tomorrow as well. But obviously tight range. I joked around on Twitter. I said today is a good day to go sit by the pool. There's not much in terms of trading opportunities here. We did have a little bit of news, though. I mean, Peloton up almost 20% on the day. So that was that they're going to be selling their bikes on Amazon. They also have earnings, I think, after the bell, or it's tomorrow. I'm not sure, but they do report here. So that's getting a short squeeze there ahead of earnings. And they they released it right at the right time, right? So if you're gonna do that right before earnings, you're really gonna punish those shorts. Also reporting earnings is NVDA, so that will be after the bell. I believe the conference call is at 5 p.m. That is definitely a glitch there on the volume. At least I think there is. I mean, I would hope that's a glitch. But take a look there. So NVIDIA will report after the bell. Obviously, that will have some bearing on the semis and in tech and on the market overall. NVIDIA is a big company, so that will be market moving. But I expect the dust to settle tomorrow morning, regardless of which way it goes. If it goes down or up, the dust will probably settle at some point tomorrow morning, and the spiders will kind of just sit on their hands until the Fed, which is at 10 a.m. on Friday. So we may have a little bit more of this kind of the type of action that makes you want to pull your hair out because there's nothing going on. Probably one more day, and then I think we'll get some good volatility here, and then we'll get closer to that Labor Day time frame where we really get that. Just seasonally, you have more volatility in the market. So the month of September is historically the worst performing month, and it's definitely a good traders month. You get those big swings. So we'll see what we get. Anyways, and lastly, other news here. Take a look at CCJ, Camco and Uranium popping big time, up almost 16% now on the day here, at the highs of the day even. So that gapped up. That was on Japan basically saying that, hey, they're going to go back to nuclear power again. And obviously you see the result there. So I was worried about this. You close below that green bar low on the daily. I said that's not a good sign, but came down and it just keeps holding this trend line here. Look at CCJ. Beautiful trend line. It's been holding that, and that is a power move here. take a look at the weekly. You still have a little bit of resistance up here, but I'd say it's kind of minor at this point because you came back, pulled back pretty sharply, and now you're getting a power bid here with heavy volume. So CCJ and uranium looking good here. URNM there, back above the 200-day moving average. That's a power gap right there, up just under 15%. So look at URA up almost 12%. Sprott up just under 13. Big moves here for the uranium plays. So congrats to the bulls there. Outside of that, yeah, again, not a whole lot going on. We go through our sectors here. So semis, you know, sideways, IGV, XBI, all the really same kind of deal here. You know, XBI getting a little bit more of a bid. You know, we talked about that pullback to this area and they defended it. So, you know, that's getting up there and stalling out near the 200 moving average, but pretty pedestrian day across the board. Dow transports are up, you know, modestly here. They're trying to fill that gap right there. Actually looks like they just did fill that gap. So again, a pretty pedestrian day across the board. Interest rates, however, the 10-year is up pretty decently. It's, you know, and it's going to get a daily close above this red bar high. So that is significant to me. We'll watch the weekly. If you can close that above the week there, that would be even more stronger. But again, Jackson Hole can change everything. And there's a lot of bond shorts right now. That would be my only concern going into Jackson Hole, is now the bond market is priced in a ton of hawkishness. So if the Fed comes out, even if the Fed comes out hawkish, like regular hawkish, it might not be enough to keep bonds, you know, to keep bond yields to continue to rally. Like they have to be extra hawkish now because, you know, we're trading up so much into it. So just be aware of that. 30-year as well, getting close to the highs here. Yield curve did further invert a little bit on 2s and 10s, so the 2-year down there. Kind of in danger of losing this pivot here, but again, let's not make too much out of it ahead of Jackson Hole because the Fed is going to, you know, make all of this kind of negated anyway. Pretty good volume there on that dump though on the 2-year, so we'll continue to watch that moving forward. All right, yeah, home builders. Nice little outside candle here, so a bullish outside candle. So it is trying to hold this kind of this area here we talked about yesterday. You said it was kind of in danger. You know, we filled this gap and it was in danger of breaking down here. Specifically more the ITB, a little bit more on the weaker side because it lost those pivots right there. But you know, you held that 100 MA and you got a nice engulfing outside day there on XHB. So nice little pop there for that. Let's not make too much out of it just yet. Again, Jackson Hole coming up soon. VNQ. A little bit of a bid, but an inside candle here, so nothing too significant going on there. Fins, we're a little on the weaker side this morning. I've been kind of chopping around all day. A nice pop, so finally getting a bid off the lows. Didn't quite fill the gap there. You know, sometimes when you have an obvious gap like that, they'll get it really close to the level, and then they just won't. They'll kind of rug pull at the last second. But, you know, in any case, it's bouncing off that general vicinity up 70 BP, no big deal. And XBD, finally getting a little bit of follow through there. So I would have been surprised if we just cut right through that 20 moving average there. That's a pretty good drop and pop setup, especially when you have that 200 right above it. I would have been a little shocked if we had just pushed right through that on the downside. So it is getting a bid. Now, if it puts in a lower high, then it's vulnerable for a pretty sharp move to the downside. So just be aware of that on the broker dealers. All right, energy here. So crude kind of all over the map, but it is green currently. It's basically just stalling right at that 200 moving average. You do have a higher high now. So you have a daily chart higher high. So that's kind of like your first step as far as, you know, potentially putting in a low here. I really am not convinced though. I still am in the camp that we have one more leg down. And again, you still haven't taken out this inside bar here. So that is still in play until proven otherwise. But a nice little pop here for crude, and the energy sector is heating up right now. XLE green again. This will probably have some resistance around 85, but you know, a strong move there for the energy stocks. XOP inside of yesterday's kind of a shooting star candle, but still green. And OIH looks like it's going to have some resistance at that 100. If you take a look here, you can even kind of coincide that with this little gap. So let's just put that on there. So right in that area, that will probably be kind of a stall out level there for the OIH, I would think here. But overall, energy holding up well. And, you know, I'm bullish on it moving forward, but I still think crude has one more little dip in it. Anyways, nat gas, for once, actually kind of flat on the day and no crazy volatility, which is a little bit out of character for nat gas, but overall, nothing really to add to it. I still think this can go higher. I'm not convinced that that is any sort of major top here. Anyways, dollar index started off strong, but came in pretty sharply around 10 or 10, yeah, just 10 a.m. Had a pretty good dip here and then kind of recovered. It's basically at the flat line. Wouldn't make too much out of it. This can flag up and push up to 110, so just be aware of that. Gold here, nice little bounce off the lows. GDX actually gapped down this morning and closed green. You see Newmont's, same thing. Agnico, same thing. So I like these charts here. I like the miners right now. Silver, also basically just kind of an inside day after the bounce yesterday. I still think this is trying to put in a higher low right now and can at least get back to that, let's see, about 1990, maybe $20 even number handle in the short term. But overall, nothing too crazy going on here on silver today. Platinum, also kind of a nothing burger. I do like that level of support for PL. And then copper here, just kind of going sideways. I want to see this flag more. I like to see that. So let it continue going sideways and we can get an ABC up. This could be something potentially to play here. All right, so lastly, not really much to add to it, but kind of the same thing I've been saying yesterday. Bitcoin is green, but this is still a clean inside bar here on that daily time frame of Bitcoin. So we'll be watching that. You stay below these moving averages and this red bar high, it's vulnerable. So just be aware of that. Doesn't mean it can't reverse. Doesn't mean the Fed can't say something that pushes us back up. But for right now, you do have a bearish inside bar on the daily time frame of Bitcoin. All right, so flipping back over to the spiders here, market's closing in about 10-12 minutes here. Really kind of a nothing burger. We started to bid up a little bit there, and now we're kind of just stalling. I don't expect too much volatility here moving forward. NVDA's earnings will probably shake things up a little bit, unless they completely bomb or something. Yeah, then that could be problematic. But I do expect the market to kind of settle and shake that off by sometime tomorrow, as really everybody's waiting on Powell, 10 a.m. Friday. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.